As you wish, grandfather. I apologize. The old man's eyes softened just a fraction. Fiddlesticks, my boy. He gestured for the two servants to lift the chair so they could depart, then turned to the man in black. Tell Ostley it will be his responsibility to retrieve the March girl when the time comes, and if he succeeds, he'll earn the right to be in the dungeon when she's broken in. It shall be done, my lord. Both men bowed as the sedan chair was lifted, and the old man waved his cane in a dismissive salute. It better be. I will not tolerate any further mistakes. The knights can't afford them. The two men watched the chair until it was swallowed completely by the knight. Then the younger man turned to the older. I don't understand why Sir Henry isn't one of us. His father was. The older man smirked and turned to head down the hill. Ah, the older March was a true believer, having served Charles Stuart himself for a period of time in Italy. Sir Henry, on the other hand, hated his father, did well in the army, and may still be serving the crown. Besides, not everyone shares our sexual tastes, and we never could find anything sufficiently damaging to force him into the fold. His failings are all right out in the open for everyone to see. The young man shook his head. That's unfortunate. He is actually very clever. The older man chuckled. You have no idea. You were too young during the war. He's a formidable opponent. But fear not. We will break him through his daughter. Chapter 1. February 1823. On the way to Avon. The day was rather spectacular for late February. Sir Henry March, accompanied only by his groom, piloted his curricle along a small country road toward Upavon and his ducal cousin's estate. He'd taken his hat and greatcoat off some miles back to let the sun warm him, and it did. The dry and unseasonably warm weather had left the roadsides passable, the riverbanks painted in crocus yellow and purple, and the bare trees shadowed with the first hint of spring. Sir Henry had high hopes. The familiar beloved landscape in all its spring glory would cheer him, but so far, nature's exuberance had only served to highlight the melancholy holding his heart hostage. It was out of character for Sir Henry to feel so low. At 34, he was in his prime, blessed with a considerable fortune and the respect of his peers. He enjoyed good health, and nature had favored him with a pleasing countenance, straight limbs, and the kind of charisma women found hard to resist. His eyes were blue and penetrating, his hair sandy blonde and cropped short, and his smile engaging. However, only 3 weeks had passed since he'd said goodbye to his lovely mistress, Eliza. There was no anger to carry him through the parting, since her sacrifice was as great as his own, and so he could only miss her. He missed her smell, her smile, the way she twirled her long, dark locks around her fingers while she read. But most of all, he missed knowing she would be there when he got home. To make matters worse, he had left Eliza with his friend and partner Alan, who had returned from a foreign assignment with considerable injuries, and then, to honor his agreement not to see Eliza for 6 months, he had to trust another agent to investigate the Russian threat and to keep Alan and Eliza safe. Henry had just passed through a sunlit oak forest, bright with early whispers of green, and was heading up the last rise before his descent into the Avon Valley. He pulled up his greys on the crest of the hill, overlooking the river and his cousin's ancestral castle in the distance. The horses bent their heads to nibble at some tufts of grass by the side of the road, while Henry allowed himself a moment to take in the familiar vista. The road ahead led down a sheep-studded incline and over an ancient stone bridge spanning one of the Avon River arms. It passed through the charming hamlet of Upavon and disappeared into the forests beyond. The calmly flowing river below was bracketed by willows and hazel, shimmering silver where the sun hit the water. The scene was utterly peaceful. Not even the river had any sense of urgency. meandering here and there.